Welcome back to the Next Level You podcast, where we help you build the bridge between your now and your next. I am your host, Myria Johnson, joined by my amazing mother, co-host, and co-visionary, Dr. Miriam Johnson.
Hello, everyone. In our last episode, we explored what confidence means, how it shows up, how it wavers, and how to build it from within. We shared personal stories, identified common confidence blockers, and discussed the importance of standing in your truth.
Today, we are building on that momentum because here's the truth. Our world is changing and fast. Technology, artificial intelligence, remote work, shifting industries, social media. It's a lot. And in the middle of all that change, it can feel like everyone else knows what they're doing while you are just trying to keep up.
So this episode is all about building confidence in an emerging world. We will discuss how to leverage two key components of ProSci's ADKAR change management model to boost your confidence in navigating new spaces, technology, and roles. We will also talk about how confidence is not just about knowing everything, it's about self-efficacy and having that intellectual autonomy to critically think, adapt, and choose your own path.
Let's start with something we have all felt lately: the pressure to keep up. Whether it's learning new technology at work, trying to understand artificial intelligence or AI, or watching your industry shift right under your feet. It's easy to feel behind, and that's normal. In fact, it's part of the confidence curve. When you are introduced to something new, your confidence tends to plunge before it rises. It's like learning to ride a bike. You wobble before you balance. You fall before you glide. The same applies to entering new industries, learning about AI, or upskilling in your career.
This brings us back to the powerful concept of self-efficacy. Coined by psychologist Albert Bandura, self-efficacy is believing you can succeed in a specific situation or complete a task. It's not about thinking you're perfect. It's about trusting that you can figure it out, even when it's hard.
When you are entering a new environment, such as learning a new AI tool or adjusting to a shift in your industry, your level of self-efficacy will influence whether you try, whether you persist, and how you bounce back from setbacks.
The good news is self-efficacy can be developed. It begins developing in early childhood, but it's not a static trait. It continues to evolve throughout life as individuals grow through four key experiences. Those self-efficacy experiences are mastery, actually doing something and succeeding; modeling, watching others succeed and seeing others succeed usually inspires the belief that you can do it too; social persuasion, when others believe in you, especially people that you trust; physiological responses, managing stress and staying calm under pressure.
Absolutely. And that's where knowledge and ability, the K and the second A in the ADKAR model, play a critical role. In ADKAR, knowledge refers to understanding how to change. What new skills, processes, tools, or behaviors are required? It's the stage where awareness transforms into learning. Ability, on the other hand, is the demonstrated capability to apply that knowledge effectively. It's where practice leads to performance, where confidence starts to turn into competence. Now, if we look at the Kubler-Ross change curve, we gain insight into the emotional journey individuals experience during change. While ADKAR focuses on what individuals need to transition successfully, the Kubler-Ross change curve highlights what they often feel. Let's look at these 5 stages in more detail and how each can impact confidence.
The first stage is denial. This won't affect me, or I don't need to change. At this stage, individuals resist the idea of change altogether because they don't see the need to grow or to learn. Confidence may feel artificially high, but it's rooted in avoidance, not capability. Real confidence can't grow if the need for change is denied.
The second stage is anger. Why is this happening? Or, this isn't fair. Emotional resistance creates noise that drowns out new information. Confidence often dips here, not because of lack of ability, but because emotions cloud judgment and openness to learning. People may feel disempowered, frustrated, or uncertain about their role in the change.
The third stage is bargaining. Can we compromise, or is there a way to keep things as they are or as they were? Individuals start seeking information, but often on their own terms. They may begin to acknowledge the change, but confidence is still tentative and conditional, based on the hope that they won't have to change much. This is where structured, clear knowledge becomes essential to build true understanding and shift mindsets.
The fourth stage is depression. This is harder than I thought. At this low point, energy wanes. Even if people know what to do, they may feel incapable of doing it. Confidence is often at its lowest here, as individuals doubt themselves, their support systems, or the value of the change. This is the stage where targeted support, encouragement, and guided practice help bridge the gap toward ability.
The fifth stage is acceptance. I see the value in this now. Once emotional alignment is achieved, individuals are more open to learning and trying new behaviors. They begin applying their knowledge in real situations. Confidence rebounds here, not just emotionally, but through evidence. As they experience small wins, their belief in their own ability strengthens. This is where ability takes root and confidence becomes sustainable.
Together, the Kubler-Ross change curve and ProSci's ADKAR model offer a holistic view of transformation. While the Kubler-Ross change curve maps the emotional experience, ProSci's ADKAR model provides a structured roadmap for capability building. Specifically, knowledge and ability bridge the gap between understanding the change intellectually and living it out behaviorally, and this journey directly shapes a person's confidence.
Confidence is not a constant. It fluctuates along with our mindsets and our skill sets. But when we support both the heart and the habit of change, we create a space for confidence to grow and to endure. Let's take artificial intelligence, for example. AI is everywhere, from voice assistants such as Amazon's Alexa, Google's Assistant, or Apple's Siri, to content creation platforms like Canva or Adobe Creative Cloud. But here's the thing. Most people lack confidence in using these AI-powered tools. Why? Because they don't understand how to use them, and therefore they don't trust them.
Exactly. And we tend to fear what we don't understand. That's why building confidence starts with learning. Instead of avoiding AI, we can begin by asking, what is one tool I can experiment with? How does this impact my industry or role? Where can I take a short course or workshop?
And as you build that understanding, your confidence will begin to grow. Then comes ability. putting that knowledge into practice. Maybe you use OpenAI's ChatGPT, Microsoft's Copilot, Google's Gemini, or another tool to draft an email, summarize an article, or even create a simple automation that saves time at work.
That is exactly what we mean when we say confidence is not about knowing everything. It's about trying something, learning from it, and improving through action.
Let's talk about one of my favorite intellectual traits, intellectual autonomy. According to Paul and Elder's framework for critical thinking, intellectual autonomy is the commitment to think for yourself, to reason through issues using your own informed judgment rather than to simply accept someone else's view.
It means being able to examine ideas independently and make decisions based on evidence, logic, and clarity, not just going along with popular opinions, groupthink, or social trends. It's about owning your thinking and being willing to stand alone when necessary, even when it's uncomfortable.
Paul and Elder emphasize that developing intellectual autonomy also requires traits like intellectual humility, which is recognizing the limits of your knowledge, intellectual courage, challenging assumptions even when they're unpopular, fair-mindedness, objectively considering multiple perspectives. These traits strengthen your capacity to navigate complex issues with clarity and integrity.
And here is the key. Intellectual autonomy builds authentic confidence, not the kind of confidence that depends on external validation or popularity, but the kind rooted in clarity of thought, reasoned decision-making, and a deep understanding of your own values and beliefs.
When you trust your ability to think critically and independently, you are less likely to be swayed by pressure, more equipped to defend your views respectfully, and more resilient when facing uncertainty or disagreement. In a world that often rewards conformity, true confidence emerges when you can think clearly, speak intentionally, and act purposefully because you're thinking on your own.
This is absolutely essential in today's world. With so much information and misinformation flying at us 24/7, intellectual autonomy helps us pause and ask, does this make sense? What evidence supports this claim? Do I believe this because it's true or because it's popular?
Confidence in the digital age means trusting your own mind to think clearly and independently. This is not just a skill, it's a superpower.
So intellectual autonomy gives us the power to think clearly, cut through the noise, and make decisions we truly own. That's where authentic confidence takes root.
But even with that foundation, confidence does not always come easy. The truth is, we all run into barriers that can shake our confidence, whether we're just starting or decades into our career.
And while these barriers can show up for anyone, they tend to show up the most for emerging professionals in the early to mid stages of their careers. Some of the most common barriers to confidence in emerging spaces include overwhelm, so much to learn, so little time. At first, overwhelm can feel like the shock or denial stage of the Kubler-Ross change curve, when the scope of what lies ahead seems paralyzing. The ADKAR model reminds us that the path forward begins with awareness and desire. Recognizing the challenge, then building the motivation to move through it step by step rather than all at once. Comparison, feeling like others are ahead of you. Comparison often triggers the frustration or anger stage on the Kubler-Ross change curve, where doubt and resentment surface. ADKAR points us toward knowledge and ability, focusing on what skills and tools we can build instead of measuring against someone else's journey.
Perfectionism, believing you need to be an expert before you even start. Perfectionism aligns with the depression or low energy stage of the Kubler-Ross change curve, where progress stalls under the weight of unrealistic expectations. ADKAR reframes this by emphasizing ability through practice and reinforcement by celebrating small wins. Perfection is not the entry point. Growth comes through iterative action. Fear of visibility, not wanting to fail publicly or be seen learning. This reflects the bargaining stage of the Kubler-Ross change curve, where we hesitate and try to delay or negotiate with our own growth. ADKAR encourages moving from awareness to reinforcement by normalizing visibility as a part of transformation, recognizing that every expert was once visible as a learner, and confidence is built by showing up consistently.
Taken together, the Kubler-Ross change curve reminds us that barriers are not static flaws, but stages of an emotional journey through change, while the ADKAR model provides the structured steps to move beyond them. Confidence in emerging spaces is strengthened by holding both perspectives, honoring the emotions of change while taking intentional actions that build capability and resilience.
And here's the thing, these barriers show up for everyone at some point. But in emerging spaces where new technologies and shifting expectations are constant, they can feel even heavier.
That's why it's important to reframe them. Overwhelm reminds us to prioritize. Comparison pushes us to define success on our own terms. Perfectionism can be softened by embracing progress over perfection. And fear of visibility, that's actually a sign you are stretching into growth.
Exactly. You don't need to master everything. Be teachable. That is what lifelong learning is about. Your curiosity is more valuable than your resume.
And confidence is not about the absence of doubt. It is about forward motion with doubt. That is how you keep building, step by step.
Of course, it's one thing to name these barriers in theory, but they feel very different when you're right in the middle of them. Sometimes the best way to understand confidence is to hear how it holds up or wavers in real life.
So in this next segment, let's ground the conversation with a real story. One that shows how barriers can test confidence and how routines and support can help rebuild it.
My confidence was often tested during my PhD journey because it's a long journey, it's demanding, and it's a very uncertain process. So most of the common things that threatened my break in confidence were academic and research challenges, such as research setbacks, writer's block, and having to change or adjust my dissertation topic numerous times. And another threat to my confidence was internal and psychological barriers, such as the imposter syndrome, perfectionism, the fear of failure, burnout, and fatigue. There were also life and external pressures, such as financial stress because PhDs are expensive, family obligations, not being able to participate in some of our family functions due to workload, and job market uncertainty. But what helped me recover my confidence in this situation was remembering that these factors did not mean I could not complete my PhD. They were just confidence shakers and not true indicators of my ability. I realized that the presence of supportive academic advisors and mentors, vibrant peer networks, and the practice of setting flexible and realistic goals, along with celebration of small victories, greatly enriched my sense of self-efficacy. This newfound confidence empowered me to tackle challenges with greater assurance, believing wholeheartedly in my ability to succeed. I also strengthened my intellectual autonomy by trusting my own judgment, voice, capability, and capacity to make independent contributions in my field of study. Confidence in pursuing a PhD, I learned, is never about doubting yourself. It's about recovering quickly when doubts creep in. For me, this was accomplished by creating a structured confidence reset routine.
And that's the powerful part. Confidence isn't just something you hope for, it's something you can practice. One of the best ways to do that is by having a reset you can turn to whenever doubt shows up. So let's see how that confidence reset routine can be practiced through our next check-in, a 4-step process built on notice, evaluate, experiment, and track.
This framework is practical, repeatable, and designed to help you pause, reframe, and rebuild confidence in the moments you need it the most.
Exactly. Let's walk through it step by step. Notice your awareness. Pause and notice. Take a slow, steady breath. Ask yourself, what am I feeling right now and why? Name the feeling. Naming it breaks its power and brings clarity.
Evaluate your mindset shift with evidence. Reframe the story. Challenge the negative thought with a balanced one. For example, instead of "I'm failing at this," say, "I'm learning through this, and setbacks are part of growth." Recall past wins. Write down or mentally list 2 to 3 recent accomplishments. Keep a confidence journal nearby for quick reminders.
Experiment with your momentum. Take one small action. Choose a quick, doable step to break the cycle of doubt. Send one email. Revise one paragraph. Practice one slide. Small actions equal big momentum.
Track your reset and affirm. Recharge and affirm. Close with something that restores you. Deep breathing, a walk, prayer, or music. Repeat the affirmation. I am capable. I am growing. I can handle this.
Use this routine anytime you feel your confidence slipping. It's designed to help you pause, reframe, and reset so you can keep moving forward with clarity and strength. This is how we grow. One decision, one skill, one experiment at a time.
And remember, confidence is not a one-time achievement. It's a practice. The more you notice, evaluate, experiment, and track, the more you train your mind to recover quickly when self-doubt creeps in.
Exactly. And that's where discipline comes in. Because while confidence gives you the courage to start, discipline is what keeps you moving when motivation fades.
Discipline is the steady, daily rhythm that helps you turn resets into routines and routines into results. It's what bridges the gap between believing you can and proving you can over and over again.
So in our next episode, we'll dive into D is for discipline. how to build daily habits that stick. We'll talk about what discipline really looks like, how it shows up in the hard moments, and why it's the secret to sustaining the growth you've started here with confidence.
We would like to conclude with one of our favorite poems. This poem has increased our confidence time and time again. Our deepest fears. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate.
Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure.
It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us.
We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, fabulous?
Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God.
Your playing small does not serve the world.
There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you.
We are all meant to shine as children do. We were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us.
It's not just in some of us, it's in everyone.
And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Thank you for listening. Be sure to subscribe to the Next Level You podcast on platforms such as YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Audible, or Amazon Music. Check our show notes for details. And if you want to dive deeper into the concepts we covered in this episode, follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn by searching Next Level You. That's NEXTLEVEL and the letter U. Look for our bridge logo, and we'll see you soon.